live. And oh, we did it. We're live. Happy Saturday. Good morning, everyone. We're talking to a friend group who moved to Mexico. We're talking to some women who became accountability buddies and accomplished something that a lot of people would say is impossible because I haven't even been able to get a friend group to go on vacation with me. But let's talk about accountability buddies. Let's talk about moving abroad. Let's talk about, do you move to one place? Do you bop around? Come back and forth? Let's talk about the solutions that these women have come up individually and as a group for their life in Mexico. Okay, welcome. My name is Stephanie. On this channel, we talk about sitting, moving abroad, taking career breaks. If you're interested, subscribe. Thank you. Turn on notifications. Thank you. So that you'll be notified when we go live with some special guests. Hey, special guests.
Good morning.
Stephanie.
Hi. All right.
Friends.
I'm going to ask y'all to introduce yourselves. This is the Playa del Carmen. This is a portion of the Playa del Carmen Original Accountability Group, the OGs. So if y'all would you take a second and introduce yourself? Sonia, why don't you go first?
My name is Sonia Stelly. Online, I'm Sonia Unapologetic. I am, well, of course, moved to Playa del Carmen back in 2022 after kind of going back and forth in 2020 and 2021. And I kind of got the idea with following Stephanie Perry online. So, yeah, now I'm back here in Dallas at this moment, but yeah, that's me.
Good. All right. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Sonia. I'll link to everyone's everything in a little bit. Okay. Give me a few minutes. All right. All right. Sandra, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. I'm Sandra Jones Pin. Originally from Chicago, moved to Playa del Carmen, I think in 2021, probably in record time. I sold my house on the 1st. I was sitting on the beach on the 7th. And am I muted?
No, we hear you.
Oh, okay. You can hear me? Okay. And this is where I linked up with these lovely ladies. And yeah, so I've been on the road ever since. I never look back. And
That
so
was,
I'm from Lack to Legacy on YouTube.
yes, I'm sorry for cutting you off. Yes, Sandra is from Lack to Legacy on YouTube. And that was when you said you sold your house on the 1st and you were on the beach on the 7th. When was that?
Year 2021. 2021, I actually, honestly, these ladies talked me through because the sale of my house fell through a couple times. And I was absolutely beside myself, cried every day. And this group is what really helped me sustain because I didn't think I was going to make it. And so, yeah, we hooked up, every last one of us. Almost every lady that was in that group made it to Playa del Carmen. And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
What
we
month?
blessed a whole lot of pools, Stephanie.
What month in 2021 was this? What part of the year?
I left November the 1st.
Okay.
Well, I sold the house on November 1st, and November 7th, I was on a rooftop somewhere with a
Good.
cocktail,
Yes.
having a good time.
Good, good. All right.
Reclaiming my 20s, reclaiming my 20s and my 30s.
Yes. That's right. That's right. It's wasted, right? We wasted it. We wasted it. Well, anyway, yes, that's right. Reclaim it. Tara, introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tara Kelly. I am originally from Coatesville, Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia. And I'm currently residing here in Delaware, Delaware for the past 20 years.
Yes.
And so a little bit about me, I traveled back and forth to Mexico. I was going over to the resort thing probably about 3 or 4 times a year. And then I heard about Exodus Summit and you encouraging us to consider living abroad. So I heard about the group and decided to kind of pursue an option to live abroad for the first time. It's something I always wanted to do, but I didn't know how. I didn't know what that would look like, especially as a divorcee, right? I always thought it would be something you do when you're, check those boxes, the marriage and the whole bit, and we'll do it together in retirement. as we grow old, you told us, no, you don't have to. So I was very encouraged to start scouting it out. And so did some spent some extensive time over in Playa and instantly felt like this could be the forever place. Originally, my idea before coming to the group was to go either to Aruba or Costa Rica. But I just felt so at home. I'm like, Mexico seems like it's practical. And so I went over and stayed and just spent time throughout maybe 2021, a couple times throughout 22. And then now I had to come back home because life called.
Yeah.
But now I'm just, trying to reinvent next steps for me.
Okay. Wonderful. Yeah. So we're going to talk about all of this, right? We're going to talk about the idea that some things we're saving for a specific period in our lives that we could enjoy now, right? We could you could wait and move abroad when you and your partner or your spouse are down with it, or you could go now. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about going somewhere and then coming back. Sometimes moves are not forever. Most moves are not forever. You go for however amount of time and then you come back. We'll talk about like deciding on once you come back, what is reentry like? I hope we'll get to talk a little bit about that. Talk about bopping around. Sandra's been all over the place. It's hard to catch, hard to keep up, right? So we'll talk about like how do you choose other places? If you take your time to move to a place, how do you choose other places to go visit? If you've taken the time, the effort, the money to move somewhere, um, how do you then leave that place and go to other places? So that we're going to talk about all of this today, friends. Okay. Good morning, everyone. So nice to see you. Hey, Rashida. Hey, Dr. Elisa. Hello, Erica De Niro TV and Melissa. Hey, Kat Rebloom Room. Hello, Melissa and Nikki. Exotic Dover, Delaware. That's right, Erica. That's right. Exotic Delaware is representing today. Hello, Mara and Lady Sarita and Alicia Renice and Dr. S. Hi, everybody. How's everyone? Hey, Nora's in Doha, Qatar. You know the rules. When you're here, you say good morning, okay? Even if you're watching the replay, say hello to us, okay? And we're going to go ahead and get started. The Playa del Carmen accountability group is huge, was bigger. These are the women that I could get to come and talk to me, right? Some of them were like, no. Some of the Playa del Carmen accountability group was like, girl, no, I'm too busy enjoying my life. But this is a good representation because we have a little bit of each of the types of moves represented here, right? Each of the types of moves abroad. So first, can we talk about Playa del Carmen, Mexico? How did you even come, how did that even become a place that you were looking to go to, right? How did you, so Sarah, you said that you were already interested in moving there. How did that come in your purview?
Okay.
So,
Go ahead.
did you
Tara,
say Tara?
yeah, Tara
I'm
first,
sorry.
then we'll go around.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I just started vacationing after after the divorce. Couldn't go anywhere while I was married, so I just started taking trips. I
Okay.
just started taking trips, and I was like, well, Cancun's always easy, right? Go to the resort, do the whole resort thing, and then after maybe my third trip, I'm like, it's kind of boring. I kind of want to submerge myself into like the culture and started like venturing to stay in like an Airbnb over there. And then that was the year prior to going to Exodus Summit, where I realized it's time to really explore and really consider options for leaving, considering the world we were in today and a whole bunch of different factors. I just had enough. And so I was going on vacations. And then I said, well, you can't vacation the whole rest of your life. You need to really start thinking more long term and just developing yourself and figuring out what is it that you're seeking? Why are you unhappy? And just examining myself in that regard. And then here you come. So it just was perfect timing.
Yeah.
Literally, it was just all divine intervention that allowed me just to partake in just even thinking that this dream could be possible, and just seeing everyone move around was inspiring. So I
Good.
couldn't resist.
So Playa is, so I've never been to Playa, okay? So Playa is not Cancun. How far is Playa
Correct.
from Cancun and what is the difference?
So the difference Cancun is about 45 minutes away. We'll fly into the Cancun airport. Cancun from the airport is maybe about 10-minute taxi ride. However, about 45 minutes away from Playa. Playa is more, it's the best of both worlds, of course, as Cancun is. It's a smaller, sleepy beach town. Then you have your beach side, you have your city side. So it's just very homely for me. And it just felt right. It's a smaller environment. Everything is pretty much on foot. You don't really need a car. Cancun is just a little bigger and it's a lot more city than the beach, I think. At least that's my perception. But
Oh,
they're pretty similar. Cancun is just a bigger city.
okay. Thank you very much. Okay. So, Sonia, how did you decide on Playa?
Initially, I was following Black in Tulum, and that's the way I found out about X's Summit. But I visited Tulum back in October of 2020. I don't know how I got there in October of 2020 when there was that Hurricane Delta coming,
Uh,
but I was in Tulum. The hurricane was coming. I met other ladies. Um, and I remember like the weather was terrible, and we asked the taxi driver to take us to Playa del Carmen because that was where another lady that we knew she was staying.
okay.
And a miracle he got us there because he's like, I think there's going to be trees down. He's like, I don't even know if we can get you to Playa. But he got us to Playa. A lot of the electricity was out. We still walked around. Everyone was having fun. There was still like clubs opening. People were partying. We got back to the other lady's house. We were in the dark trying to like find our bottles of tequila and like laughing. I'm like, Playa is a vibe. Like even when the like a hurricane is coming and the weather is like terrible, like everyone's like party don't stop. So I think that Playa del Carmen, when I visit there, during October of 2020, it felt more like a place you can live in. Like Tulum felt like you go there for vacation. It didn't, I don't know, it just didn't seem like a place that you lived in. And then, I found out a lot of people who are involved in Black in Tulum, like they lived in Playa del Carmen. It's almost like Tulum is where you go to party, but Playa del Carmen is where you can like actually go and live. So yeah, I think after that 2020 experience, I'm like Playa del Carmen is where it's at, rather than Tulum, and I kind of went back and forth. And then in 2022 was when I actually spent, I think, most of the year in Playa del Carmen in 2022. I really enjoyed it. I really feel like I got to know myself and find myself. Even though there's partying, there's still a lot of peace there. There's still a lot of ladies who do that work with you, and to make sure like the healing bowls sound healing and all that. There's so much people there to support your healing there in Playa del Carmen.
Good. Good. Okay. So, Tara and Sonia both had been around on like a vacation or on a visit. Sandra, how did you land on Playa? How did you decide that Playa was a place you were interested in? Playa del Carmen.
I didn't. I had never even heard of Playa del Carmen. I'd never even heard of this place. I found you on Exodus Summit. The first time I went out, I'd gone overseas to Spain to teach English. I thought that was going to be that's where I was going to spend the rest of my life in the south of Spain on the beach. But when I got there, I discovered, well, number one, you don't know the language, ma'am. And number two, I didn't have a community. So I
Yeah.
had to come back home and regroup. Yeah, community is everything. So I had to come back home, regroup. The pandemonium had hit. It was just all kind of crazy was going on. So I had to come back home. As I was home, I'm doing research trying to figure out, okay, sister, what's your next move? What's going to be your next move? And as I was researching, I came across Exodus Summit and connected with all the ladies, got hooked up with an accountability group through Facebook, through the Facebook group. I thought I was going to Mazatlan. I'd never heard of Playa, but I'd heard of Mazatlan. And I had
Okay.
heard of Puerto. I never heard of this place. And so I got in the group and I told them, I said, listen, I don't know how long I'll be with y'all because I'm going to Mazatlan. I promise you, from that day forward, never look back. It was like, okay, there was no Mazatlan group. You know, that's how fate works. There
Yeah.
was no Mazatlan group. There was no Puerto Vallarta group. It was only the Playa del Carmen group. And so I stayed with those ladies. And some of us have stayed together and stayed in touch. It's been 3, almost going on 4 years now, and just never looked back. And so Playa was it. So I went there, we had dinner, we all hit it off, and Playa is that place. It's easy to matriculate, it's easy. It's 2 hours from Atlanta. I mean, come
Right.
on. It's a
Right.
2 hour flight, it's a $200 ticket. It was a no-brainer. And when we got there, it was balmy and beachy and easy, all the things. And so it made it real easy for me to say, yeah, I'm gonna stay here for a little bit. It was easy. Playa kind of picked me. I didn't even know Playa
Yeah.
existed.
That's funny. Yeah. So if there had been a Mazatlan accountability group or something, then you would not have met your
I,
sister, right? And
no,
maybe you would have gone to a different city and had a different experience. And who knows where you would be today, right? Just because
see,
you raised your hand and you were like, okay, well, I'll join this group. I'll go see what they talking about over here. That's
that's it. So, ladies, be led. Just let it happen. Let the experience happen. Because I'm telling you, I had never heard of this place. I was like, well, I'll just chill with them until they organize the Mazatlan group. And then I'll hop over to the Mazatlan group. Never happened. Never looked back. Never left. Never even got to Mazatlan. Still haven't been to Mazatlan. It's been 4 years. Still haven't been.
I haven't been either. We'll have to get down there.
I'm-
Yeah, but you're right about being led. Sometimes the flow it will take you if you can get in flow, go with the flow. Let it take you someplace better than what you were planning, what you were imagining, what you were thinking would be.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Let
Exodus.
the experience be.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. We're so used to having to do all the things. We're so used to having to do it that sometimes we don't get in a position to let things do for us, right?
Yeah.
We're so used to having to do the things that we don't get to enjoy the flow. So I like that story. I really like that you were like, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what happens. So
Go. They got tequila. It can't be that bad. It's a beach town with tequila. Can't be that bad.
can't be that bad. What's the worst that could happen? It's a beach. Maybe you don't like that beach. You try a different beach, right? Yeah. So Exodus Summit in 2021 was either September or October. I don't really recall. I think it was probably still in September that year. And we had breakout rooms where you could join and talk to each other. And we didn't really know what those rooms would turn into. But you, friends, y'all turned them into accountability groups, into places where you would meet over and over again. So what did that look like? Do you remember going into the breakout room during the summit in 2021? And do you remember like who was the boss? Did somebody take over and decide, here's how we're going to run things? Or do you not remember how things really jumped off?
Sonia was the boss. Sonia was the mama bear.
No,
Sonia was the
he
boss.
took, he took us running with it.
Organized us. We know what the heck is
She
going
was
on.
in
Sonia
shape.
organized.
Yeah, we met from what I remember. It's funny because it's been so many years now, so it's just like, well, it's like, okay, let's remember. But we met by Zoom. We had like maybe monthly meetings from what I remember.
Yep.
And so we would meet by Zoom and talk about challenges, and some of the ladies got there before the rest of us because I was leading the group, but a lot of the ladies had moved in 2021 and I didn't move until February of 2022. I went to visit, but actually I moved on February 22nd, 2022. So that was like such it felt like it was meant to be. So yeah, we did a lot of Zoom calls, and cried with each other, and a lot of emergencies came up because one of the ladies, she was working, and I think all of her internet went out, and so having that accountability group, it's like, okay, get with this person. You can go to their place and finish your work presentation or whatever. It's just it was really helpful.
Yeah. So Sonia was like, here's what we're going to do. Okay. We're going to meet every month and we're going to make progress to moving to Playa del Carmen. Were y'all friends? Were you in? Were you convinced that this is what you needed? Or were you thinking, listen, I can do this by myself? Yeah. Did you buy into that right away?
Oh, I knew I needed the group. I cried
Yeah,
every
I
day.
needed
I cried every day
Go ahead, Sandra. Go ahead.
trying
I
to get
needed
out the state. It was tough. And I'm so sad Tony isn't here because I owe Tony real money because Tony was the first person to tell me, like, girl, calm down. It'll be okay. Tony talked me off of my couch many days. The first time the sale of the house fell through, I was devastated. I didn't even know that could happen. I didn't even know this was a thing. And I called Tony in tears. I sight unseen. I'd only seen Tony. I don't know if y'all remember. Remember, Tony was the person who presented, and she referred to her social security as Luciano. Do y'all remember
Yes.
that? That's the only way I knew her. I didn't even know her. She picked up her phone, and all she could hear was this. "Ah, blah, blah, blah. I'm blah." She was like, "Who is this?" I said, "Tony, I saw you on Exodus Summit, and when I tell you, Tony has been such a dear friend to me. I cried. She talked me down. The second time the house sale fell through, I cried some more. Tony talked me down, and in between those breakdowns, the group held me together. You all don't know this, but I have the original chat. I have the whole chat from the day it was formed. I
Oh,
actually went back,
wow.
Stephanie, and looked at it. Yes, I have our pictures. I went back, and the support those women gave me in that group absolutely pulled me through because people around me, every time that house didn't sell, you know how people are like, yeah, right, she going to Mexico. Yeah,
yeah.
right. Something must be wrong with the house. I could feel the negativity from, I won't say family members, but people that were close to me. I could feel the negativity. And these ladies absolutely were there for me. And I just don't know that I would have been able to make it through.
Yeah.
Seriously, I probably would have done it, but having somebody that I didn't have to explain, it sounded crazy to everybody, but it didn't sound crazy to them.
Yes.
And that was a gift to me.
That's right. That's right. Tara, were you all in immediately to the idea of an accountability group going forward, or were you like, I can do this, I don't need y'all?
So I absolutely was all in. For me, community is everything. And if I did it by myself, I would have dragged my feet. I would have put everybody else in front of me as the reason why I can't, why I need to sit back, be the mom, be the worker, be the earner, all of that thing. And this group really helped me realize that I can do it and we could do it together and support each other and so much love. I'm so forever indebted to Sonia, you and Sandra, especially forever.
Yes.
It's been the biggest blessing just to be able to have a can-do attitude with such positivity. That is what I really needed because nobody travels alone, especially to go to Mexico. And you get all that, what about X, Y, B, and Z? And I'm like, I'm just going to go and give it a shot. So, yeah, the group really helped keep a positive perspective on progress. It was very progressive, a lot of resources that we created, or Sandra and I, or Sonia, and all of us just poured into a Google Doc. So much information from jobs to how-dos to being like emergency contact for one another while abroad, these kind of things. It was really instrumental in helping us, navigate our way.
Yes.
So thank you all.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you. So, Sonia, have you always been? So, Kim with the gem says Sonia is such a caring and selfless person. So glad we crossed paths in Playa del Carmen. Have you been, Sonia, the community builder? Has that been your MO moving around the?
You said, say it again?
Have you always been a community building person, or is this a was this a new?
I think that's the way I am, like with a lot of things, to where it's just kind of like I end up being the glue, kind of, sometimes, with even things like filmmaking things or whatever. It's like okay, let's put together a group. We're gonna make it work. So definitely for me, I felt like I needed a community. Otherwise, if I feel like I'm all by myself, it's gonna feel like okay, I'm not gonna want to do it. So I definitely needed a community for me to feel like this can be real. You're not going by yourself. And then I think I needed a community because my family and friends here is just kind of like they were just like, what are you doing? You'll be all by yourself in another country. And for me to say, like, no, there's ladies that I know there. It's like, I have friends there, I have support there. I think that made my friends and family here feel like, okay, she's not going to go over there and get kidnapped. And, it's like she has support, she has somebody she can call on.
Did they know that these were people you had only met online? When you said, I have friends there, I have support there, did you know that did they know
Yes,
that?
well, but before I moved, I had already met some people in person. So it's like, okay, I
Oh,
met them online, but it's like in 2021, it's like, okay, these are ladies that I've met in person. We've hung out. I wish Vi was here, but Vi, I met her in, I think that was October of 2021, and she invited me to, I think it was a 50 plus or 55 plus party, and I didn't realize that it was a 55 plus party. So that's where I met Tony, and they were like, okay, are you in the 50 plus group? I'm like, am I supposed to be? It's like, I'm not. And I had so much fun with them. It's like the 50 plus ladies, I can't keep up. But yeah, it's like I met Tony before I moved. I met Sandra. I met Tara before I moved. I met Vi before I moved. I met a lot of ladies in Playa del Carmen before I moved, and there's a Black American community there. So there's community there. So I think that made my family and friends feel a lot more at ease with me moving there. I guess everybody's very protective. It's like, no, it's like you can't have our Sonya, Everyone's so protective, like, no, y'all can't have Sonya. But some people came to visit. Some of my friends and family came to visit. It's funny how it's like when we all stay in Dallas, it's like, okay, y'all haven't been to my apartment here in Dallas, but y'all flew to Mexico to visit. So
that's right.
so
Yes,
that's fun. Uh,
some of those
yeah.
relationships do better when you're in a different place, right? You're a more relaxed person, but also people want to come and spend time with you when you're in a different place, right? Yeah.
Yes, yes. And plus, I mean, I was able to talk on the phone just as much. It didn't feel like it was so far away. I was still having phone conversations. I was still having FaceTimes. I was still doing all the communications. So it didn't feel so far away.
Yeah. Yeah. Sonia mentioned that she's a filmmaker. Sonia's channel is Sonia Unapologetic. Link to everything in the description of this video. I'll also link to her everybody's Instagram and YouTube channel. So Sonia, when you reminded me that when you said being a filmmaker means I know you build community, I'm like, that's right. That's right. You have this person who does these things and you do these things and you're able to network and delegate and all of that. So that probably gave you a good, it means that you're more likely to be in community with people, I think.
Yes,
Yeah, that really makes
I think so.
sense. All right, friends. So we met every month. Okay, y'all met every month, or however often. Mostly every month. Did you come? Okay, let's say this. What I find with accountability groups is there are some people who will hide out if they haven't made the progress that they think they should have made. First, okay, I say that, but I also want to say if you're in the chat and I've sent you the link to come and join us today, come and join us today. It's not too late. Vi, Tony, if your schedule changed, um, Kayla, Laila, T, was it T? No, you're T. Tara is T. I'm telling, no, that's your email address. Lisa,
Lisa.
Lisa. If you're here, it's not too late to join us. Okay, if you have the link, come on over. So, but when you are getting together monthly, did you find like did you have the urge to be like, I'm not coming? Listen, I'm not doing the work, or things are going bad, or I don't, I'm stressed out. I'm not going to accountability this month.
That wasn't my
And that,
story. I couldn't wait to connect. I'm telling you, I went back through that chat. We talked a lot. We not only did we meet by Zoom, but we had a WhatsApp group too. And so there was this closeness and cohesiveness about that group. I don't know that it was never my inclination to hide out. I ran to them. So when things didn't go right, when I was afraid, when I had doubt, when all the negative things came up, that was my safe place. The accountability group for me was the safe place. The world was the unsafe place. My workplace was unsafe. I couldn't talk about it there. I had shared with my boss that I was going to retire and I was going to the beach, and I was saying it. I was actually saying it out loud. And she told me to stop saying that. She said, "You're not going anywhere." I was like, "Hold my beer, babe. hold my mule. You do not know me because I got 20 Black women behind me saying, yes, I can, and that we're going to meet there." So I wasn't inclined to hide. It was my place to go when the rest of the world was like, girl, that ain't going to happen. Child, we don't know nobody been to Mexico. Why would you want to, all those negative things? So no, I don't know. That was just for me. No, nope. That was my safe haven.
Good. I'm glad to hear. Listen, I have been listen, I can't come. I didn't do it. I'm messing up. I'm stressed out. Listen, I'm just going to hide away. I'm so glad to hear that you didn't do that. And it reminds me that this is how you use accountability partners. This is how you use community. This is how you function in community. If you withdraw every time things go bad, you're not in community with people, right? You're just there
No.
for the good times. You have to stick around and share and be a little more vulnerable and be willing to show up so that it can go to work, right? So that that community can work for you, so that it can do what you set out for it to do. Thank you for that, Sandra. And I'm glad to hear it.
But Stephanie, they were posting pictures too. They were posting pictures of dinners at the beach. I was like, are you kidding me? I don't know what these crazy people talking about here in Chicago. These girls are down here on the beach having dinner and drinks. Nobody looked sad. I was like, no, I am out of here. Winter was coming too. There was no way. Wild horses couldn't have kept me from that beach. I didn't care what anybody said. It was the pictures for me. It was the pictures of them at these long tables with dinner. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going. That's it.
So you got there in 2021 still. It was still 2021. Who do you know who was there first inside of the accountability group?
When I got there, Tony was already there, Vi, Decca. There were at least five ladies. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but it begins with an M and I never get it right. But there were at least four or five ladies that were already there. They were lunching. They knew where the good cocktails were. They knew the things. I was like, "Oh yeah. Are you kidding me?" So it was easy. It made it so much easier. I think, and now I've gotten better. Now I can show up. I can show up any place on the planet by myself. I don't care if it's somebody there or not. I've grown to that. But for the first time out traveling, and relocating with all your stuff, that can be pretty scary and pretty intimidating. But to know that there are five Black women that I can call anytime, day or night. Tony had already established that she would be supportive. And
Uh-huh.
so I knew if I couldn't call on anybody else, I could call Tony. And so that made all the difference in the world. I knew I wasn't alone. And so that helped me.
Yeah, good, good, good. What about you, Tara? Did you feel like right off the bat, I'm uh, I'm going to utilize this community? Did you feel all connected? And how did you feel? My real question is, how did you feel when you saw the first group in Playa and you're still in Delaware?
So I was always maybe trying to withdraw a little because I kept questioning, okay, is this going to be a move that I'm able to do or completely cut out? I still have the whole house and the kids and the whole thing, even though they're adult kids.
Yeah.
It's for me trying to sever those ties and go into the next era of my life. And what would that look like? Um, the first person I ran into was Sondra. She is so amazing. At the at the OXO, she met me and we met Kayla. We had a beach day, like day one, and she just poured out into each one of us. Sandra is top tier. And so, yeah, we just embraced each other. Lisa, Kayla, who else was it? A few other women that were there. And they were all in their traveling, bopping around mode, where I was just fresh out learning how to, my first international trip alone kind of thing.
Oh,
So it just was really, really, yeah, everyone was really welcoming and hospitable. And it just was a great connection and it just worked.
so you told us that you were divorced, but that time to Playa del Carmen was your first international trip alone,
Alone, correct. Yep.
and you were going there for how long?
So I think the first trip I was there for 2 weeks.
Wow. Oh.
Yeah, I did 2 weeks and then I realized, oh, I can stay even longer depending on my job because I was working remotely. So, and really pushing on trying to secure the bag, so to speak. So, I did still have to work and just looked at ways to be able to sustain work and leisure, all of that in this beautiful paradise city. I can do it. And what does that look like? What are the tools needed? And amongst all the support of people who were successful in their move. Um, I couldn't quite move yet, but I know that's in the plan, in the works.
Yeah.
But it was a nice on the ground kind of research opportunity. And it just, it really worked. It's really a great opportunity to have the accountability groups.
Yes. So
Very
now,
helpful.
so now what are you doing, Tara? Have you been back since then? So you went to Playa. Well, let's get a little timeline together.
Yeah.
So in 2021, you went to Playa on a visit, but in 2022, you went for a longer period of time?
Yes, I stayed maybe a month at one time and then maybe 2 to 3 months. And
Okay.
we all communed together
Yeah. Yeah.
for a moment. So that was great.
And then you went
So
back to,
that was maybe 2 months or so. And then end up losing my job, had to pack it up, start
oh,
all over.
okay.
Yeah, and try kind of regroup. So I have gone back for a few weeks.
Okay.
So I'm able to do that just based on my work schedule.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk about work and how we afforded to move or to go visit or whatever we afforded to do. So Tara, you had a remote job. You were in Playa del Carmen. You lost your job. Where was that like a major freak out moment? I can imagine how scary that must have been.
I was a nervous wreck. But yeah, I was like, oh no. But, I had a part time contract role that I've been doing for like 6 years. It just doesn't bring in it doesn't have a lot of financial added value. So I just needed to secure another full time opportunity in order to maintain longevity in my stays. So I had to leave. I packed up, left, found another role. But then life happened back home where I said, now is not a good time to kind of bop around. And I'm back to going for short stays until things settle down a bit.
Okay. Is your job remote now?
It is. But
Like,
this new job, I'm not able to work internationally. So I
oh,
am looking for an international work anywhere job
okay. Oh,
because the VPN, even with the VPN, it won't allow the access. Now the VPN will hide your location for some opportunities, but not this one.
yeah, I would not recommend anybody use a VPN to pretend
Right.
you're someplace when you're someplace.
Correct. That way you're
No.
not.
If your
Exactly.
employer cares at all to find out where you actually are, they will find out where you actually are. And
Exactly.
I can imagine that losing a job abruptly like that is a really, really scary thing. Now, I have quit a job abruptly, okay, but losing
Yeah,
a
not really being prepared. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a major freak out because I did have a backup and then I did have savings. But for me, it just didn't feel very wise. So
sure,
I needed to regroup.
sure. So when you were going to Playa for the month and then the 2 months, you kept your home. Everything was at home, and it wasn't like you had packed everything up and moved to Playa. You were going back and forth,
Right.
snowbirding.
Yes, I was still very much in the early scouting stages and just trying to see what that looked like. If I leave my house with my young adults, will they be able to take over and maintain? And they did. They stepped up. They were very encouraging.
Okay.
Believe they were.
How
I
old are
think
you?
it was me not. Yeah. How old are they?
Hmm.
20, 26 now, 23 and 20.
Right now, they're 26, 23, and 20.
Correct.
Oh, so in 2021, they were 23, 20, and 17, like 17 or 18?
You got it. Yep.
Ah, okay. That's good. So, okay, so I want to go back to that later. Okay, let me write that down. You had a 17-year-old. Okay, I want to go back to that in a little bit. Okay, Sandra, Sonia, can you tell us about what work you were doing that allowed you to spend this time in Playa del Carmen? Where was the money?
Okay, and then someone was saying I had feedback, so I hope it's not too bad. But
It's all good. We,
I was working remote before I moved to Playa del Carmen. But like Tara said, a lot of jobs will not allow you to work internationally. So my job would not allow me to work internationally. And I felt like I definitely needed a break. I definitely just needed to, go to another country and just have a break. So I used savings, and that's what sustained me in 2022. And I feel like the whole time I was there, it was very difficult for me to find something that would allow me to work internationally. I work in financial services. What I do specifically, they're like, no, ma'am, you cannot work in another country. And like you said, a lot of people talked about, like, why would you tell them? Why not just go? And it's like you're using their VPN. You're not using your VPN. You're using their VPN. So yeah, I definitely didn't want to be out there, and then they're like, "Wait a minute, are you in Mexico?" It's like, okay, you're fired, and you need to get us our equipment back immediately. It's like, who wants to? I think that would stress me out so much, just thinking, you're on these Zoom calls, and in Mexico, someone's outside with a bullhorn, like selling mangoes or something. They're like, "Where are you?" Because you're not in Dallas. So it's like for me, I knew, I'm like, okay, I can't have that kind of stress on my shoulders. But it was good taking off because I focused on my YouTube channel. I feel like I just focused on getting to know myself. So for me, I was just living off of savings, and taking that time off.
Good. You know, I'm a fan of that. Do you think it was worth it? Right? Because the bank account gets smaller and then you have to go back to life. Was it worth it? Was that
Mhm.
battle worth
I think it was definitely worth it because I feel like I'm such a different person now. Being this time back in the US, man, it feels amazing. It's like um it changed me so much. So it was that aspect was worth it. Now I have to tell the truth, as money start to dwindle, that's a different type of stress. So I feel like I got back here and got the perfect remote job and was able to start working and bringing in money. I got back at the right time. I
Okay.
think any longer, I came back in December of 2022, and I think I started working in January of 2023. I think the job started, yeah, in January of 2023, and I got back here in December of 2022. So I think it's definitely when you need that time, it's like go ahead and take it. But yeah, the money thing is going to be a stressor. So at the very beginning, it's just kind of like, okay, I'm good. But as time started to go, it can be a stressor. So yeah, definitely people have to be aware of that.
What was your, did you leave some money for the reentry process? When you left, did you say, this is money I'm not going to touch so that when I go back to Dallas, I can get myself, you know, have some runway?
You know what? I don't think I didn't plan it out the way I should have. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't plan it out because my plan was, outside of a corporate America job. It's like, okay, I'm gonna find something that I can do. Like maybe I'll edit someone's videos. Maybe I was looking for some of the hustles that I would do. I'm like, okay, that's gonna bring in some money. So I think I just had to start to look at, okay, what's the amount of money I have left? It's like, okay, I need to get back
Okay.
and actually get back to my field of work and start bringing in some money.
Yeah. When you do, there is an extra feeling of it'll work out when you know that there's some other things you can do for money. You may, even if you don't get another job right away that gives you that that amount of income you're used to. When you know, listen, I can edit some videos, like you said, I can do this, I can do that. When you know that you can do some things to eat, there is a different, it hopefully will alleviate some of the stress. Having some sort of skill set that you can do online from anywhere in the world and where you're in control of it, does help make you a little, it means you need less cushion, right? It means you need less cushion or runway. Because listen, I
So
know,
yeah,
yeah,
my advice would be like before the person leaves to secure, like, so if you're in the US and you're going to move to Mexico, if you've already secured some clients, like already secured some people that you're going to edit videos for, if you're building websites, already have some things in place. Because I feel like I was trying to make that happen while I was in Mexico, and then it's like I was stressing out. And but it's funny the way it's like I mean, the universe really did sustain me. Everything worked out exactly the way it was supposed to work out. And then for me, it's like I had family to where it's like, okay, when you come back, it's like, okay, I'm by myself. I don't have kids. So that may be different for someone who has a child. For me, as a single woman, it's like coming back to the US, any family member is going to be like, oh, yeah, you can come back.
yeah, yeah,
So that's the thing, too. I knew I was never homeless.
uh-huh. That's right.
So,
Same, girl, same. Listen, as long as Perry and as long as my mom and dad are around, there's an extra, I got that safety net, right? And I know I'm not going to be in the worst case scenario. Yeah, and it's nice to use that. I like to use that out loud. I like to use my safety nets out loud for people to see what it's like to use your safety net, right? To lean on your community. When I'm in my mom and dad's house, I'm in my mom and dad's house, and everybody knows and everybody can see it. And that's what it looks like, right? It's not shameful, it's not embarrassing, it's not the worst case is absolutely not the worst case scenario, right? It's pretty nice. It's a pretty nice life. And that's what it looks like to utilize your community instead of having to be the person who does everything yourself. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And Sonia, don't worry about the feedback. Listen, anybody who has ever watched a video on this channel is fully aware that it's not going to be perfect. Okay, that's not my brand. That's not, never been my brand. All right, you can see us, you can hear us. We're going to roll with it. So, Sandra, what did you do for money? How were you able to live in Playa del Carmen, and how are you able to live today? Because you have a different way.
Yeah, my situation was very different. I drank all the Exodus Summit Kool-Aid. I drank it all. I did everything you all said do. I watched all the videos. I took all the notes. I opened up all the accounts they said. So it was a little bit different because I retired. You know, the pandemic, what is it? The pandemic. It's been
Yeah.
so long. The pandemic hit. I was home. I was home. I was like, yeah, this is a good time to jump off this roller coaster. Because, I had been in teaching. I'd been in the classroom for almost 30 years. And so it was a good time to talk about retirement. So I did. I went ahead, sold everything in the house in the process. And Stephanie, this is so true. I lived for an entire year off of the stuff that I sold from my house. So,
Ooh.
ladies, I'm telling you, this thing is so doable, but you have to be willing to leverage the assets and the things that you have. I had a house with the garage was chugged. The basement was chugged with stuff. The closets were chugged with things. I couldn't believe it. I'll never do that again. I'll never do it again. But I was able to sell all that stuff and I was able to live for a full year off of the stuff. It's so embarrassing. That's so embarrassing. Off
No,
the stuff.
that's life.
It's
That's the
look,
United
I feel
States.
for anybody who has to declutter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody should have that kind of stuff. Stephanie, nobody in the world needs 250 pair of shoes. Nobody in the world. But it's that consumerism, what America is known for. It's that capitalism. You got to have a bigger, better. You need more. I drank that Kool-Aid too. I think you generally, if I go for something, I'm going for it. And so
Yeah.
I was living that whole, I was living that whole American existence. But once you know better, you do better. So I retired, but I didn't take my pension. So it was sitting there. That was a safety net in itself because I knew that that money was there. I could take it anytime I wanted to. But I sold the house. I threw those keys back at the car people. I was like, I don't need this car no more. Stephanie Perry said, I can get the heck up out of here. And that's what I did. I sold everything. I sold everything in the house. I turned the car in. I, sold the house. And so I had the proceeds from the house. So that was very different. I didn't have to worry about that. But what was interesting about that is I think you said it. When you see that number dwindling, that was a first for me because I was used to being a wage earner. I'd worked for 30 years. And so it took a really serious mind set shift. And I don't think we anticipate that. Nobody prepared me for that. I had done all the checklists. I did everything you all said do, but I wasn't really prepared to shift from wage earner to a spender. And that can be just as stressful as not having enough money, having it, but not being used to spending it. I'm telling y'all, it sounds bizarre, but that's a thing. And so it took some time for me to rest in you got enough money for 50, 30 years. It was always you don't have enough. That's why you go to work every day because you don't have enough. You don't have enough. And to be okay, like what? There's money and I don't have to go to work. That thing almost took me out. I used to wake up breathless. I would wake up in the middle of the night like, woo, you don't have a job. But I would have to remind myself, you have this money, you have a pension, you're going to be okay. Now, fast forward 2 years later, 3 years later, girl, I'm real good. I don't have no problem. I sleep real good. I don't need no job. But again, like I said, I did everything. I took your class. I took your YouTube class, started a YouTube channel, which is monetized and paying.
Yes.
And I took get your next few clients, started a business. That thing started like I couldn't believe it. It was making money. And so I used the money from those things that you helped me establish to supplement my pension check. So I did eventually take the pension because
Yeah, I was
so
going.
it was really different.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was going to ask you. So, what was the difference? Do you know at the time what was the difference between your pension check and your expenses?
I didn't take my pension check for almost 2 years. So for 2 years, I lived on savings.
Okay.
That was a tricky time
Okay.
because I was literally watching my savings balance, you know, and Stephanie, let's be clear. I didn't miss a party. I didn't
No,
miss
you
a
did.
rooftop soiree. I didn't miss a boat. I didn't miss anything. I'm telling you, if they opened an envelope, I was there for it. If they clinked two glasses together, I was going. And so it was a good time. I had a great time in Mexico. If
You did.
those pools could talk, if these puffs could talk, I had a good time.
So,
But
okay.
that thing that's shifting that mind shift with going from an earner to just spending, that thing you have to put some time into that mental shift. It doesn't happen overnight. At least it didn't happen overnight for me.
No. Did you know? So, when you were starting to live on the savings, did you know that it was 2 years before you were going to start taking the pension?
Yeah, I knew. I had a certain age. I had said because I wanted to, when you get ready to leave, they give you all that paperwork. They tell you that the more, if you leave it here for this many years, you'll get this much more. And so I had figured it out down to the penny. I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave right at 50. I'm gonna collect it at 59. And when I get to 59, I think no, it's 58 and a half. When I get to 58 and a half, I'll start to draw down the pension. So I left at 55. So yeah, I was out there for a while
Okay.
with just living off of my savings, but it worked out. There was never any danger, but your mind doesn't know that. It took my mind some time to catch up with my body. My body was on the beach having a great time, but my mind was saying, "Girl, you are not making money. You are just spending money." And so it took a minute to get used to, but I'm good now.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Thank you for talking about that. That's something that um, we forget about. We forget that like you can put this money towards this thing. You can save this money for this specific thing, but sometimes it's hard to actually use it for that thing, right?
Yeah.
You can save money for
Yeah.
a retirement or for a full-on retirement, but then when it's time to use it, you may very well resist. There's a lot of resistance that might come up, like, oh, but I can't touch it, I can't use it, I can't, and especially not when you actually log onto that account and you see it used to be maybe it was six figures and now it's down to five figures, four
You're
figures.
not gonna discuss. Yes. I had some sleepless nights, Stephanie. Some for real sleepless nights because you have to give yourself permission. There were so many places, there were so many stages of this journey where I had to give myself permission. I
Yes.
had to give myself permission to leave my children. These are adults, but I have the best children in the world. They were like, "Go, mommy, go." I was like, "Oh yeah." Now, once the kids said, "Go, mommy, go," I was like, "Okay, we off to the races." And then this money thing came, and it's like you have to now give yourself permission to spend the money.
Mhm.
And then you have to give yourself permission to leave this place to go to, so I'm telling you, I think Sonia said it best. You really get to learn who you are. You get to know who you are. Somebody said it, wherever you go, you take yourself. And
That's
so
it.
you might as well love yourself and get to know yourself because that journey will teach you who you are.
Yes. I agree. I agree. Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to talk for a second about Exodus Summit, friends. So these women became accountability partners with a whole gang of other women. It's a bunch of them. Okay. They became accountability partners through Exodus Summit. Exodus Summit is an online conference that is happening for the fifth year, October 11th through 14th, 2024. Get your ticket at exodussummit.com. It's Move Abroad School. Okay, whether your move abroad is going to be for a few months or a few years or for a few decades, Exodus Summit will help. The sessions inside of Exodus Summit will help you answer some questions that you need answers to, may help you formulate a full plan. If you don't have a plan, it'll help you get a plan. If you do have a plan, it'll help answer some questions that you still have lingering. If you don't have any questions anymore, it will give you community so that you're not doing things all on your own. Exodus Summit is the way that a lot of the women in this chat, that the women on this screen have been able to live out something that they had a dream to do, right? And none of us are more deserving than you are to live out your dream. So we hope that you'll see us at Exodus Summit 2024, October 11th through 14th. Tickets are at exodussummit.com. Go ahead and get your ticket because price goes up. The October 10th is the last day at this price, and October 10th is a lot sooner than you think it is, okay? The price goes up on October 11th. Okay, I hope that we'll see you there. Let me go ahead and drop the link here, and I'll make sure it's in the description of the video as well. If you're not registered for Exodus Summit, but you're enjoying this conversation, you go ahead and register, okay? Go ahead and register so that you can make some progress towards this for yourself. Whether you're moving, like we've seen, whether your move is, I don't live in the United States anymore, period. Or I'm gonna go back and forth. Let's do some snowbirding, right? It's too cold in Chicago. Let's do some snow in the wintertime. Let's do some snowbirding. Let's come back and forth. Okay. We hope that you'll see this accountability group happened inside of the like breakout rooms. We do breakout rooms in Exodus Summit where you get to meet and talk to women who have something in common with you. It might be like this accountability group started because of Playa del Carmen, Mexico. It might be based on where you want to go. Might be based on where you live now, might be based on something else. Maybe you want to travel with your pets and you need to get in community with some other women who are doing some pet travel because it requires some special steps and things, right? You can find women who are who are like you inside of your accountability group and make progress together. I hope we'll see you there. Okay? Okay. So we've talked about a little bit about money, and we've talked about the planning process, and we've talked about why Playa for y'all. Now, what is next? What is next? Because none of you is in Playa del Carmen right now, right? Yeah, none of you are in Playa del Carmen right now, even though you've all been to Playa del Carmen for a good amount of time. So where next? Where are we going? Tell us where are we going? How do you decide on what's next? And where are you in the process? Do you want to start with that, Tara?
Yes. So I am currently in Delaware, and from this marvelous opportunity, I was able to continue my healing journey, which
Yes.
is always in process, right? Um, but more importantly, I was able to really sit down and examine who I am, Tara, because that gets lost in all the noise with being a mom, being the wife, and all of those things, being the caretaker for my parents, etc., all of that. So it allowed me to tap into sustainability for myself. What does that look like? What would my future look like? Am I going to be self reliant and dependent on whom? So I was able to finally tap into gifting that I really always had. I really enjoyed growing my own foods and going all organic, which leads me now down the road of homesteading. So
Oh,
that's the direction that this is now taking for me. And so now I am looking at, well, where am I going to do that? Although we're in a nice agricultural place here in Delaware, this just isn't it. So there's opportunity here, but not for me. It's not aligned. So in that, I'm looking more back either in Mexico or Costa Rica
okay.
because I have to get down there in those Costa Rica streets and travel to see what that looks like because I haven't been.
Okay.
Um, but I want to give myself an opportunity to see other areas. I like Playa. I don't necessarily know if that's going to be the place for my homestead, but I'm open. I definitely am open to international homesteading as well. Maybe domestic. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now. So I started growing food in my backyard in a small container gardening primarily, and that's just been really, really helpful. It's
Good.
been healthier choices for my food and things like that. So this really just opened up a whole lot of doors for me personally, right? And explore a different way to think and approach life, my
Yeah.
finances, trying to undo all of the things that we took on, all the things, spending a lot of money on the house, been there, done that, over it. Do I leave it now with my children or do I just take the money and run?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at. I want to say they're not the children, the adults, right? And they're very supportive, but they kind of like, we don't want to go to Mexico. I said, well, okay, well, where are you going to go? Because you're now of age. And I don't know what to do with that. So that is kind of my little struggle, right? How do I just cut off? I see it can be done, but am I really ready to kind of like just go? And I have to find my own lifeline and save myself
Yeah.
and prioritize me and my happiness. But
It
I'm getting there.
I would like to say this as an adult daughter who goes to her parents' house whenever she feels like it. It's not cutting them off. You're just moving to a different place. I'm sure they will be welcome. If you start home
Yeah,
in Costa Rica, they would be welcome there. You're not cutting them off, friend, right? You're just
correct.
relocating yourself. It's just a
That's
relocation as far as they're concerned. You're not disowning them kids and and kicking them
right.
over. And I don't know y'all anymore. I don't think that's what you're saying,
No, no,
right?
no, 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 not that. But as far as, hey, I can no longer prioritize making sure your shelter's in place.
Mhm.
From that, in that regard, you have to be accountable to secure these things your own self,
Yeah,
right? Because I have enough to take care of me, but I shouldn't be the earner for everyone and making sure that I have you covered. Although they take care of themselves, it's just my mind shift that needs to happen
yeah.
where, oh, well, I don't, it's not my responsibility to secure, to cook, clean, and do all of that for you. And
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Okay. Okay. No, it's
So,
not.
yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay. No, it's absolutely not. Melissa,
Bro,
Melissa said they won't die.
exactly.
Yeah,
No, they're going to eat or y'all figure it out.
they'll figure it out. That's right.
So that's what this is looking for, like for me. Just now figuring out where my happy forever place is gonna be.
Okay. Good. Because you're homesteading, it's a little different. Most of us don't need to find a happy forever place, right? 'Cause, you get somewhere and you don't like it, you pick up and go. It's hard to do that when you have things in the ground, right? So for homesteading, you're
Right.
right. You do want to spend some more time scouting and trying out some new places, so
Yes.
that you can, so you don't have to restart a farm from scratch over and over again. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
When you said sustainability, I was thinking about the dip that is the move. Sustainability is the move. What we want, and in different types of sustainability. So when you're talking about like sustainability in terms of food and things and the earth, but also sustainability
Exactly.
as in I have found peace in my life. Now, how do I keep it? I've gone to another place. I've formed community. I've got friends. I'm a different person now because of this time that I've spent in a different country. Now, how do I keep that even if I'm back in Delaware, or even if I'm in some other place? That's what I thought
Exactly.
of when you said sustainability. Yeah.
Exactly. Because happiness is within, and we've got to tap into that and prioritize peace and happiness in spite of your domicile. So for me, that was really big. Being in a place where I'm unhappy, right, geographically, what are you going to do? Tap in and find ways to find that happiness until you're in your next place.
That's right. That's right. It shouldn't be I'm happy here and then but it's temporary. That vacation happiness. It shouldn't be the vacation happiness. It's got to be sustainable. It's got to be. You've got to find the version of you that is in that state as much as possible. I don't know if you can be in that state all the time, but is in that state as much as possible.
as much as you can. Exactly.
Yes.
And growing my own food gives me peace and happiness. So that's a starting place. And I'm thinking, this is it. This is what I'm looking for.
Good.
Would be nice to find it by the beach side, but
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
we'll see what happens.
Let's see what happens, right? Somebody right now is growing their own food by a beach somewhere, right? If they can have it, you can have it. I am Karen Louise.
Exactly. Or at least not too far.
Yeah. Yeah, I am Karen Louise says she checked out your YouTube channel. Your homesteading tutorials are fascinating. You don't normally see this from a Black woman's perspective. It's so refreshing. Excellent content and such a talent! Exclamation point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Do you know Sicily inside of Exodus Summit? Do you know Sicily? Sicily Garden Living with Sicily, I think is her YouTube channel.
No, but I'll have to tune in and subscribe.
I'll make sure I send you
Thank you.
her link later. Yes, Garden Living with Sicily lives in outside of Philly, near Harrisburg.
Oh,
Near Harrisburg.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's in,
Nice. Thank you, Cicely. I'll
yes,
have to check you out.
you're welcome. All right, so I have put, of course, everyone's YouTube channel is in the chat, and once we're done, I'll put everything in the description, like I said. All right, so that is what's next for you. Scouting out, homesteading somewhere internationally. We love that for you. And also what's next for you is finding a way to renegotiate your relationship with the kids, with your children, with your adult children, right?
Yes.
Somebody's doing it and somebody's doing it and somebody can give you like I was about to say a handbook.
Pointers.
Yes, pointers. Somebody's got a handbook, right? Here's how you set things up.
Exactly.
You go. Yeah. There are people who I know set things up for a specific anyway, people who set things up for a specific period of time and like here's your kid, y'all, here's y'all's runway. Here's the amount of time that you have before listen, this is over. Things are changing around here. Yeah.
That part.
Uh-huh. Sonia, what's next for you? Or what are you working on? Or what is the plan? What's the move?
So right now, I think a lot of my focus is writing, and my plan is to be filming a feature film next year because over these last couple of years being back in the U.S., I've been to like all my friends' movie premieres and have been cheering them on. But I've been doing a lot of writing. It takes a while, so um, my plan is next year to be filming, a movie that's something that kind of speaks to Black women and some of our challenges. So a nice drama is what I'm working on. So stay tuned to my Instagram to just kind of follow and see what's going on. But as far as travel, next month I'm going to Jamaica. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So now I feel like my plan is more so like I'm loving being here in Dallas, especially because of the filmmaking stuff. But then travel to like have a good time and turn up and then come back to what I need to handle here. So I think the sabbatical really, really helped. But then I think I realized, like, towards the end of 2022, it's like I saw a lot of my friends online. It's like everyone was getting back into the regular flow of things. Everything is back to normal now. So I did feel like I was kind of starting to feel like I was missing out by being out of the country. So yeah, now I think just focusing on the filmmaking, supporting my friends. I'm enjoying like concerts here. I'm enjoying just life. So I feel like I'm the best version of myself now. So that sabbatical really helped out a lot. So just focusing on my filmmaking and then also traveling for fun, traveling and having a good time.
Wonderful. So Sonia, the joke is always that we always talk about taking a sabbatical. What we don't tell you is you're probably not coming back. But Sonia is proof you can come back. You can come.
I thought it wasn't at first. I thought like a sabbatical and this is gonna be, for life. But yeah, I think the thing about the sabbatical, you don't come back the same person. I think that's the thing. You'll never be the same person. So that's the thing. You're forever changed.
That's right.
And I feel like in a good way.
Good. Wonderful. So please, friends, you've got Sonia's YouTube channel and Instagram linked here. She said follow her on Instagram so that you can hear about things coming up. If you're going to do some sort of crowdfunding or something, make sure that we know, okay? Make sure that the Exodus Summit community knows what's happening and knows ways that we can support you, okay?
And that would be amazing because y'all know it takes money to make a film. So for sure, I'd love the support.
Okay? Seriously, that's a serious, okay? Make sure that we know what's happening. Make sure that we know ways to support you, okay? All right, you've been a community builder. Now also be a community utilizer. Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you. Yes, also because then if you go on a sabbatical and then you come back and you make a movie, I get some of the credit for that. I get to be like, yo, I had a hand in the movie.
Girl, and then when it's time for movie premiere time, y'all need to fly to Dallas.
Right? All
And
right.
be on the red carpets. We have fun at movie premieres. We have the little backdrop so you can take the pictures on the red carpet, meet the actors. So y'all get me hyped up so this can happen.
Please. Okay, please. Okay. All right. Don't be a stranger. Let us know what's happening so that we can support you and then so that we can take some credit. Okay. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. All right. So, and of course, everything, links will be everywhere. Links will be in the description. Links are in the chat now, friends. Okay. All right, Sandra. So, friend, by asking you what's next, I'm really asking you, where are you? Where are you? And so
You already know, Stephanie. Wait a minute, y'all. What movie was that? Was that Harlem Nights, where that man said, "Sunshine, put your mama on the phone. I ain't never coming back."
never coming.
That's me. I'm never coming back. Never coming back. I'm sorry. It just is what it is. It's too much world out here to see. So I think I have come up with a way, a method. I'm in Thailand now. I secured an apartment here that was about $350 a month.
Okay.
And so I was able to stay here in the region and bop around. So over the last year, I was able to go to 12 neighboring countries. So I got a chance to really get a feel for Southeast Asia. And I think I want to recreate that whole little bop around thing. I think slow travel is the way to travel for me. And so I think I want to recreate that in South America, just go keep my expenses, keep that budget tight so that I'll have the cash free to explore all of South America. And then ultimately do the same thing in Africa and hit each continent that way. It was very cost effective to do it that way rather than flying back and forth because, once you get to a region, it's just so inexpensive. The flights are way less to just kind of fly to a neighboring country, stay for a month. So I think I'm going to finish up like that. So I got a couple more countries here in Southeast Asia. And I think I'm going to do a YouTube series. Stephanie, you have so inspired me. I'm going to tell how I did that whole house hack thing because I think it's a thing. Kids don't want those houses. My kids did not want that house. They were like, "Mommy, please, that little house." That's what they said. They said that literally, that little house. I was like, they did hurt. It hurt my feelings. It hurt my feelings. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, see, but Stephanie, but what it showed me is that that old model of the home is the only way to pass down generational wealth. That's not true. It's not true anymore. And so I think my kids will be just as happy with a big old fat check. So, I took the money and invested the money. And so my investments are doing pretty good. And I'm teaching other people, teaching other women, teaching my grandchildren to recreate what I did. You don't have to hold on to that house. Sell that house. Invest the money in the stock market. The kids don't want the house, but they will definitely not turn down that big fat check. I know for a fact they won't.
That's right. My parents
Some
have My parents have two neighbors, like in, that you can see from their front door, where the people either moved or passed away and left the house to their adult children. And I mean, them houses are in disrepair, right? Right. That wasn't what those people needed. That's not what those. They're both boys or men. That's not what those men needed. Uh, Struggling and doing all that to keep a house is that they don't want is extra stress for no reason. For no reason. Extra stress on them. Extra stress on you. Get your money. That's not financial advice.
But Stephanie, I think I did them a favor too, because all that stuff that, let's God forbid, when it's my time to go, it's your time to go. My children would have had to clean that house out, clean all that stuff. My children will never have that experience because I've cleared out all of that clutter for them. They already know what my final wishes are, which is to keep my money in the family. Do not put my money in the ground. I'm telling them, if they don't know, they know now. I want that. I want to leave them a financial legacy, not any of that stuff. I don't want them having to do things. And so I think you and this whole community has taught me to see things a totally different way. And it is okay to break from the norm and do it differently. And so that whole notion of the homestead has to be the only way that you pass down generational wealth, that thing it's outdated. It's an outdated mode. It's an outdated model. It doesn't work. Trust me, throw your money over in the stock market. You can get 10%. You get between 8 and 10% earned on your money in a year. Trust me, the kids will thank you later. They might thank you now. They'll thank you later, though.
Sondra's channel is From Lack to Legacy, and yes, she does teach investing and trading. And you said you're teaching your granddaughter, your grandkids trading. How old are your grandkids?
Yes. Oh, my grandbaby can tell you what it means to diversify an account. Are you kidding? Yes. So that has always been on the burner for me. I was a teacher. So eventually I'm going to do a program for children called In Grandma's Kitchen. And so
Oh,
I'll teach children financial literacy too.
that's wonderful. That's so nice. Yeah, yeah, yes. You are a teacher. Being a good teacher is a thing that you take with you. Being a good teacher in the classroom means that you're also a good teacher of anything else you want to share with the world. If you want to teach people to crochet or invest or whatever, being a good teacher is a thing that you take with you. Just because you leave that job or retire doesn't mean you lose that skill set. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. So, okay, so we know. So I want to ask you a couple money questions, Sandra. So, 350 a month for your apartment in Thailand. What city? What town?
I'm in Chiang Mai, and my total expenses easily I live for under $1,000 a month. And Stephanie, I'm not talking about, we're not over here eating rice and beans. Now, there's plenty of noodles. I love rice. But I'm talking about for real living. And it's not just me. There's community here. So total rent 325. My internet bill is $9. My cell phone bill is $9 a month. My water bill, I've never paid more than $2, maybe $3 for the month for water. My electric bill is always, I've never paid more than $50. And groceries for me average about $65 a week. And I'm talking about I'm balling out at the grocery store. I'm balling out. Nobody, tell me, people in Asia don't shop like that. You know how we shop and stock up. They really shop day by day.
Every day.
I'm in there balling out. Like we know she is not from here because I got a shopping cart stacked to the gills because I don't like to go out every day. So
Right.
for $65, I'm amazed every time I show up at the register. I'm like, ma'am, this cannot be $65 again. It is. So yeah, less than $1,000, and that allows me to do the travel
If
stuff and anything I want to.
if anyone who's watching, anyone who's listening, if you are okay with being that far from the United States, go to Southeast Asia, right? Like you got to be in Southeast Asia. You have to be okay with being that far from the U.S. So you have to be okay with sweating. If you're okay with being away from the U.S. and
Oh
sweating,
God.
you're going to live your life, live out your dreams in Southeast Asia. Chiang Mai, Thailand is a place where you're going to be in community with Black women, if and community with whomever, community with everybody. It's a wonderful place and a wonderful. I miss the person that I was in Southeast Asia. I was a more, I don't know. I lived a better life, a healthier life, and a more a life of doing things. I actually did things in Southeast Asia, and I miss that. Yeah. Oh,
Look, I'm telling you, a sister arrived today. Katrina is coming next month or next week. I am telling y'all, Black women are here. We are here and we're getting together. We are having a good time and we are not breaking the bank doing it. So if you're thinking about it, you already got friends on the ground.
that's right. That's right. So I'm hosting an Exodus Summit meetup there not there, in Vietnam in February, late February, around the 20th of February. So yeah, hopefully some of the women who are in the region will be able to converge, come together for a little while and hang out. Yeah, okay. So and one more question about this 350. It's one, how many bedrooms for 350?
It's one bedroom. It's the cutest little place. It's one bedroom. It's got a living room. It's a proper, it's got a washer, pool, sauna, 24-hour security. I have two balconies, a mountain view. It's really, but it's insane. But shh.
Yes.
It's a really nice place. It's
Yes.
modern. Don't tell everybody. Don't
Okay.
tell
Okay.
everybody.
We won't. It's
But
just
it's cool. I'm happy. Just us. Just
yeah.
tell us.
Yeah, I've rented in Chiang Mai back in 2015 without negotiating and without doing any looking around. I rented an Airbnb for a full month for $450, a one bedroom Airbnb, right? And that was a lot. That was a lot of money for the area. It was just because I wasn't willing to look around, and it was only
Mhm.
1 month, right? If I had reached out to them and said I want to stay for 6 months, they would have cut it down significantly, right? So, but that's what I'm saying. $450 a month without any negotiating, and on the Airbnb platform, which is more expensive, right? These are places where you can live and have a real kitchen. In Costa Rica, 450, you're probably not going to have a kitchen. Okay, I want you to know that. But in Thailand, in Vietnam, in Southeast Asia, you can have a full life on that price point. It's a really underutilized region because it takes a while to get there. It takes a little while. Yeah.
Oh, that flight is a beast. And I
Yeah.
don't care, Stephanie. Look, I don't care if you pay, I don't care if you're riding in coach or if you are riding in business class. I have done both. That flight is still a beast because you're on a flight for 14 hours. So it's just no way around it. But when you get off and you get off in paradise, you forget, it's like having a baby. You forget about all that pain.
Okay. Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. It's so worth it. So worth it to be in that place. Okay, we'll talk about Southeast Asia another time. Okay, so that's what you're doing. You're region by region, you're getting yourself an accommodation, and then you're exploring the entire region one at a time until. Okay, I love that.
Until.
Yeah. Leaving, when we talk a lot about it in terms of like moving abroad, but it's really just leaving the United States. All we want you to do is leave the country. It doesn't matter if I'm moving to one particular place and I'm staying there, or I'm bopping around a whole region, or I come back and forth. We've seen three different answers to what moving abroad to Playa del Carmen, Mexico looked like. But what we saw each one of these wonderful women has in common is the community helped them do it. Being in community with people, meeting the women inside of Exodus Summit, and then using the accountability groups the way that they're made to be used, instead of just hiding from them, like, oh, I didn't, going and being in community with other women inside of the Exodus Summit community is the common denominator here. It's the thing that has gotten these women to where they are, where they, yeah, where they are, which is a person who is, each one of you said that you are a different version of yourself, a better version of yourself, a version of yourself that you want to hold on to. That's what happens in
Mhm.
community with each other. Thank you. I know I told y'all 90 minutes, but let's look at can I ask a few questions from the chat? All these have been my questions. So we can ask a few questions from the chat if that's okay? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Hang on.
It's,
Sure,
it's,
yeah.
it's, I'm good.
Okay. Hang on. Hang on. All right. So this isn't a question, but Wanda Scott is saying finding a remote job can be difficult. Sonia, how did you find your most recent remote job?
LinkedIn. And this is the thing. I guess depending on what industry you're in, um, I've gotten a couple of remote jobs to where the recruiter is just reaching out to me like, "Hey, you want a job?" So, and that was happening to me while I was still in Mexico, but I knew that they were offering me a job that they weren't cool with me working while I was in Mexico. But LinkedIn, having that profile on LinkedIn, that is very helpful. And if you're open to contract job, that's a lot of remote jobs, or it's not going to be you working permanently full time with the company. You're going to be contracting, and that's a great way. And I feel like those contract jobs, it's it's not these like micromanaging. It's like the contract jobs. It's like you feel more so like it's freedom, because my job now, I love it, because I can just do my job and it's not that micromanaging. And with contract jobs, you're usually going to make a lot more than
Yes.
just working through the company. So if you find like companies that contract people out to these bigger companies, I think that's going to be your best bet. But make sure you have a good profile on LinkedIn.
Good. All right, fantastic. Thank you. Libria Jones is teaching a session in Exeter Summit 2024 on finding remote work. And if you have the All Access Pass, she's doing a workshop on how to use AI tools to supercharge your job search. Because some of these tools are a lot better than they used to be, right? Anyway. So Libria is teaching how to use some of these tools so that you can find a truly remote job, a job where they really don't care where you are in the world. And you're right about contract work being a good solution for a lot of us. There was a time when contract work and temp and what we used to call temp work was like a last resort, but it really should be the first resort for a lot of us now because, man, you're free. You make more money and you're free and you decide how long you're working and how long you're breaking. How long is the sabbatical in between? Yeah, so you're right. You're so right about those things. Thank you very much, Sonia. Not Before 10 has a question for Sandra. How did you prepare your mind for letting go of your house? This has been an unexpected mental struggle for me.
Yeah, I think, there's no panacea. There's no way through it but through it. I think I had been in the house for 25 years, and if you've been in your home for that length of time, you're going to have feelings are going to surface. Of course, you're going to. My advice is go with it. Don't try to run from it. It is a transition. It was painful, but I knew what was on the other side. That I couldn't help those feelings, those emotions. During those times, I would lean on my community, find somebody who's done it before. Because if you don't, when you're doing it by yourself, it'll make you second guess your whole plan. Like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, or maybe it's the wrong thing to do because it shouldn't be painful. But I think any kind of growth, they don't call them growing pains for nothing. Any kind of growth, you're going to have some emotions that come up. So I would say don't even try to fight it. It's normal, it's a part of the process, but don't allow that to make you second guess the choice. If your why is really that you are ready to live a different life and you're resolved, you're resolute about it, go with it. But find people. Don't talk to the people, the naysayers, because they'll use that. They'll be like, "Oh, girl, don't do it. Don't do it. Oh, you should. It should be easy." No, it wasn't. It wasn't easy. I cried all the time. I'm telling you, Tony could tell. Tony knows all my secrets. Tony talked me off the ledge many a day. And so find someone that you love, somebody that loves you, someone that you trust, somebody that you can trust your deepest hurt and secrets. Somebody you can really give it all to, and you're not worried about them using that against you. But it's a part of the process. I wish I could say something other than that, but it's a part of it and it's normal. It's okay.
That's
I
right.
think trying to fight it though is like trying to keep a beach ball underwater. Trying to deny these isn't helpful. It's like kicking the can down the road. It's a part of it, but it gets so much better later. I'm telling y'all, can't you tell?
Girl.
It gets so
So
much greater.
The chat. So this is your at least your second time being on this channel. The chat is really confused about how it's possible you have grandchildren, how it's possible that you had a job for 30, would you say 30 years at one job? Listen, how
30
okay,
years.
okay, listen.
Good clean living. Would you tell it's the glow? All the girls have the glow. Y'all better get out here. I'm telling you, it's the glow. It's the from within. You are not stressing. The only stress I have is the stress I cause myself. This mountain ain't stressing me. This $325 rent is not stressing me. None of it is. And so you have time to get massages and facials and just lay across your bed and reflect. Girl, it's look, don't worry, cry through getting rid of the house. It'll be okay. But when you get on the other side, I swear to goodness, it's a good time. It's a good time.
Yes, we all agree on that. Kat from Rebloom Room wants to know what advice do each of you have for aspiring expats? For those of us those women in the chat who are right now thinking or wanting to go abroad for some amount of time, a few months, a few years, a few decades. What's a piece of advice you have for her?
I guess I'll go. Be inspired that it will change you in such an amazing way. And so that being said, looking forward to that, it makes you feel like, oh, I have to do this, because it's like you're going to be such a better person on the other side of it. That old Sonja, I appreciate the old Sonja, but I'll never be that again. So I'll never accept less. So I think that's why I came back and was able to attract this amazing stress-free job. I feel like a lot of the people who were stressing me, it's like the relationships are different. I will never accept less again. So I'm more at peace. I'm a different person. I'm drinking my water. I'm working out, and I'm so open to fun. Like, this life is supposed to be fun. You're supposed to have that self-care, your massages, your facials, all of that stuff. You're going to be the best version of yourself on the other side of it, whether you stay out there or whether you come back to the US. So it's like you owe it to yourself.
Good. Thank you. Tara, a piece of advice?
Remain flexible across the board in terms of preparing. Put some measures in place for the unexpected, whether it's savings, whether it's networking, whatever that may look like for you. And then still just continue to flow and be open to those changes. Um, don't let it don't let the unexpected, right, just be a stop sign and just pivot and turn around and give up. Keep open and know that each path that you take, each goal that you set for yourself, your vision may be similar, but look different from what someone else's may look like. Someone's journey is their journey, and it's just an individualized thing. But keep tapping into your soul, your goals, yourself, and cater it to what's personable for you and personalize it.
Personalize it. That's exactly right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Sandra, a piece of advice?
I say stay away from perfectionism. It doesn't have to be perfect. You need a plan. And for me, it's like this three-legged stool. My experience has shown me that you want to plan for finances. You need to have a financial plan. You want to be prepared mentally, and you want to be prepared physically. We don't always talk about that, because this road, especially if you're planning to slow travel, you've got to carry your own suitcase. Pack light. All of this, pack light, but it doesn't have to be perfect. I would hope that you would show yourself some grace. It just has to be good enough. And I think that number, we all think that it takes more money than it really takes. I swear to goodness, it doesn't. So get a number that you feel comfortable with. It doesn't have to be perfect, but pay attention to those three things: your physical health, your mental health, and make sure financially that you're ready to make that move.
Perfect. Okay, that's wonderful advice. I agree with all of that. Stay open. It's going to change you in ways that you didn't know. And it's going to be beautiful. Sonia said the old Sonia, right? It really, you will feel like a new person. I know you hear it, but you don't believe it until you experience it. You feel so. Be open to that. Be open to what's in here that you don't yet have any idea of yet, and get yourself in position to be able to meet her. And then be flexible. Tara's right. Be flexible because things are going to go wrong. Sandra's house sale fell through two different times before it went through, right? Be flexible. If you hem yourself into a thing, um, you're just setting yourself up for things to fail, right? The more flexible, I'm in Costa Rica right now, and this is earthquake territory. And there's like a gap between the glass panels on the balconies. And I'm like, okay, because they know things are going to shift. And they don't want everything to come crashing down just because one thing shifts. If everything could come crashing down, you have not been flexible enough. So be flexible. And then, yes, perfection is not your brand. You can take that. You can use that. Okay. I say it. You can use that to remind yourself throughout your day, throughout your life. Perfectionism, there's no goal, there's no win. That you don't win from being a perfectionist. So let it go. Let it go. Let things go, as best as they can. Right? Sometimes as best as it can be is good enough. Sometimes as little as possible is perfectly acceptable. Don't hold on to don't treat this new part of your life the way you've treated that old part of your life. Maybe there were conditions where you had to be perfect, right? But you don't have to keep living like that. And that's not how you get that glow. Okay, that's not how you get the glow, by always having to be perfect. So that was wonderful advice. Thank you. I'm going to give you another piece of advice, which is get get some numbers. Get some numbers on paper. I think Sandra saying she paid $350 a month for her rent and lives on $1,000 a month is going to really help somebody right now be like, oh, wait a minute, wait a second, right? Sonia saying she moved and lived on her savings, wasn't down there trying to work, right? And Tara saying, I kept my house back home, was in Mexico for a few months, right? This is how you tailor a plan for yourself instead of following someone else's plan. But you don't have a plan until you know some numbers. So get your numbers together. If of course Exodus Summit is the place where you can come and learn how to do those things. Maybe you don't even know how to get your numbers together. Maybe you don't know how to get residency in another place. You don't know how to get an apartment in another place, or how to get rid of your stuff in the home that you have right now. If you register for Exodus Summit 2024, we will help you with those things. The speakers, the sessions, the accountability groups in the salons will help you work those things out for you in a plan that works for you. So I hope that we'll see you at Exodus Summit 2024. Again, the link is exodussummit.com. Okay. And I've linked to everyone's everything. Follow them. They're delightful. Follow them everywhere. So I thought of that when we started. I said, Tara, we haven't met. And she was like, girl, yes, we have. Right? It's just been too long is the problem. We've met. It's just been too long. So we're going to have to fix that. I'll be back in Delaware. I think, so I haven't even told my mom this. I think before I go to Las Vegas, I'll be in Delaware. So I think that's very early November. So maybe if I do a little knock on your door, don't be surprised. I think I'll be in Dover for just a little few days before I head to Las Vegas.
That
And
works for me.
okay, I'll holler at you. Yeah, it's just been such a long time ago that we need a re-up. We need a refresher.
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
indeed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all, friends, for being here and sharing with us so openly. Thank you for, sharing your stories and your ups and downs, wins, new plans, old plans. Thank you very much for sharing. But even more importantly, and so, so sincerely, thank you for forming the friendship, the community, the sisterhood that you did. Rashida and I love that we help Black women move abroad. But man, what brings tears out of our faces is when we see Black women just connecting. When we see a Black woman who has a friend now, who has a sister now, who has a community now. So thank you for that. That is the thing that will live on no matter what Exodus Summit is or isn't in the future, does and doesn't do in the future. We will always, always, always carry with us the connection, the community, the sisterhood that y'all have formed with each other. That's not what we did. That's what you did. Thank you for that. That is why our blood pressure is lower and our skin is glowing, right? Because of something that you did together. We love that. Continue. Keep going. Keep doing it. Stay with each other. Stay friends. Stay sisters, because it means the world to us. Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Stephanie. That gave me chills.
I know. I'm like, don't cry, don't cry. You all are amazing.
You don't know how good that feels to see that, right? So we get messages. Hey, I got my residency in Panama. Amazing. But listen, seeing you say, here's my support system, right? Here's somebody who talked me through the hard things.
Yeah.
Here's somebody who celebrates with me the good things. That's it. That's the point.
Makes all the difference in the world. Yep. I would never have stepped out in faith and without them. So thank you. Without you.
That's right. You know I take the credit, so thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You can totally take credit for this, Stephanie.
I do.
Because wait a minute, Stephanie, weren't we one of the first? And listen, I think this is true. I think we were some of the first accountability groups.
That's right.
Because there was no blueprint. There was no real blueprint. We were just going off of vibes, and we wanted to be there for each other. It was so organic, and so get with your sisters. It was lifelong friends.
We were the first accountability groups. Like, I think our picture was on like Exodus Summit website under accountability groups. It was us three.
Yeah.
We're
right. Exodus
the
Summit
children.
Exodus Summit 2021 was the first time we broke up into accountability groups, and y'all were the first accountability group that we heard back from. It was like success story after success story after success story, right? You were the first, and y'all set that up. I think the breakout room was just go meet somebody. It wasn't keep meeting, but Sonja, the team builder, right? Sonja was like, here's what we're gonna do. Right? We're gonna keep meeting. We're gonna make progress. We're gonna live out this dream instead of just sharing it one time with each other. That was what y'all did, right? And you were the first. And now every year at Exodus Summit, we can't have Exodus Summit without accountability groups. We can't have Exodus Summit without salons or breakout rooms where y'all get to group together and share and make progress together. There's nothing that we do that is more valuable than that. I believe in the value of Black women leaving the United States or leaving their country. I believe in the value of that. I live so much better because of that. But that does not hold a candle to a Black woman having community, having connection. It's the best thing that we do. It's the thing that we are so proud of. And it's because of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Love you guys. I love you guys. All right. I am a Cancer, so I got to go. I'm gonna go cry a little bit. Okay, just a little bit. But thank you. Thank you everyone in the chat. Again, always, you're amazing. Thank you for answering the questions that we couldn't get to in the chat. Thank you for communicating with each other. Thank you for being here and for hanging out with us and for asking your questions, answering your questions, sharing, giving. We appreciate you, and we'll see you guys again very soon. If I don't see you before then, we'll see you inside of Exodus Summit. And then hopefully, if you're in the Exodus Summit community, we'll see you in Vietnam in February, around the 20-something of February. Okay? All right, friends.
I'll be there.
Okay.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you all.